For decades, Ron Howard looked like the one Hollywood star untouched by darkness. But behind the calm smile and endless success, he hid private battles no one imagined. Only now has he opened up, revealing painful memories, deep regrets, and a family crisis that hit harder than any career failure. His silence finally cracked, exposing a truth heavier than fame ever was. Ronald William Howard's story began under blinding studio lights. Born March 1, 1954, in Duncan, Oklahoma, his parents, actors Rance Howard and Gene Spiegel, raised him in a mix of art, discipline, and uncertainty. Before he could even talk, Ron was on set. At just 18 months, he appeared in Frontier Woman, unknowingly signing up for a lifelong role that fame would never let him escape. Ordinary script pages sat beside dinner plates. His father juggled military duties and auditions, while little Ron, still losing baby teeth, memorized lines instead of playing outside. Later, he called those years a golden cage, safe but lonely, locked in duties he never chose. Everything shifted on October 3, 1960, when The Andy Griffith Show premiered. At 6, Ron became Opie Taylor, America's picture of innocence. The nation adored him, but off-camera, he was a quiet boy doing homework near stage 40, listening to other kids laugh outside. His father shielded him fiercely, correcting scripts and demanding honesty over charm. That wisdom defined Ron's artistry, but it couldn't protect him from the quiet ache of belonging to everyone but himself. Those hidden wounds stayed for decades, bleeding into adulthood and shaking the heart of his family life. What no one saw was how deeply the pressure cut into him. When The Andy Griffith Show ended in April 1968, Ron was just 14, but felt decades older. 8 seasons trapped in a make-believe town had stolen the carefree chaos of real youth. His education was a blur, split between rush tutoring at Desilu and half-days in Burbank classrooms. He learned math as stagehands pushed dollies past his desk, ate lunch with Andy Griffith and Don Knotts instead of kids his age, and quietly watched his childhood fade. At just 8, filming The Music Man, Ron panicked over a dance routine, whispering to Shirley Jones, "I can't do it, Shirley." She comforted him as the crew hid his mistakes by filming from the knees up. Millions adored that shy charm, never knowing it came from fear, not confidence. Those quiet anxieties followed him into Happy Days in 1974. At 19, stepping into Gary Marshall's office, he had no idea he'd become America's boy next door all over again, this time as Richie Cunningham. While the world adored him, Ron felt trapped inside yet another mask. By 1977, at 23, he was still playing a teenager while the real world outside was roaring with change. Vietnam, protests, a new generation finding its voice. Meanwhile, Richie Cunningham stayed frozen in time, untouched by reality. Ron even wrote to ABC, begging for a storyline that acknowledged the war. They rejected it. That quiet frustration grew until he realized he couldn't keep pretending. If he wanted to reclaim himself, he had to step behind the camera. Directing wasn't ambition, it was escape. His breakthrough came when Roger Corman handed him a lifeline. Star in Eat My Dust, and he could direct his own movie. Ron jumped at it, not for fame, but freedom. The result? Grand Theft Auto, a wild, low-budget car crash comedy he co-wrote with his father, Rance. They wrecked 70 cars and made $15 million. For the first time, Ron tasted what acting never gave him, real control. But control came with a heavy cost. Ron threw himself into every project. Night Shift, 1982, Splash, 1984, Cocoon, Willow, Parenthood. Each one bigger, sharper, more demanding. Success gave him power, but it also chained him to impossible expectations. Studios trusted him completely, and that trust became unbearable pressure. By the early 90s, he was no longer the boy from Mayberry. He was Hollywood's perfectionist, the man who never failed. Then came Apollo 13 in 1995, his most intense challenge yet. Determined to honor real astronauts, he refused every shortcut. They filmed 612 zero-gravity scenes inside NASA's Vomit Comet, each lasting just 23 seconds. Even mission control was rebuilt from real NASA panels bought for $1 each. Ron pushed himself to the edge, 18-hour days, 90 days straight, barely sleeping. Then one morning, his body quit. He collapsed. Dehydration, hypertension, total burnout. The set went silent for 36 hours. When he finally returned, his crew greeted him wearing shirts that said, "Mission Control." They'd follow him anywhere. But behind that tired smile, Ron knew the truth his body had been screaming for weeks. He had crossed a dangerous line, becoming the kind of perfectionist who could destroy himself without even noticing. That truth haunted him for years, not just for the toll it took on his body, but for what it stole from those he loved most. For all his success, nothing weighs heavier on Ron than what happened in 1991, the regret he can't outrun. It should have been the happiest year of his life. His daughter Jocelyn was born, his career was soaring, and Universal handed him creative freedom most directors only dream about. Then came Far and Away, a 6-month shoot in Ireland. Ron left, chasing another triumph. Cheryl stayed behind, raising their newborn twins and little Bryce alone. 6 months later, when Ron walked back through the door, the damage hit him like a punch. Jocelyn didn't recognize him. Bryce barely reacted, and Cheryl looked completely drained. Decades later, he confessed that moment broke him. It was the instant he realized that success meant nothing if it cost him the very people he was building it for. He vowed never to vanish like that again. But life doesn't always let promises stay unbroken. By 2005, during the reshoots for Cinderella Man, Ron felt himself slipping right back into the same brutal cycle. Sleepless nights, endless demands, missed milestones, missed memories. He came home once again to kids who'd grown while he was gone, and to Cheryl, who'd kept their world intact through sheer quiet strength. That relapse forced him to face the truth he'd been running from since childhood. The belief that he always had to say yes, always outdo expectations, always prove he deserved every chance given to him. For decades, that drive ruled him, until 2025. On their 50th anniversary, while donating a bench to John Burroughs High School, where he first met Cheryl, Ron finally said it out loud. He'd trade every award, every hit movie, every ounce of fame for the lost time with his kids, but his toughest chapter was still ahead. One he couldn't control, fix, or direct. The battle of the brother he might lose. To the world, Clint Howard was the quirky face popping up in Star Trek, Apollo 13, and countless classics. But to Ron, he was more than that. The only person who truly understood what it meant to grow up inside a machine that never asked how you felt, only how fast you could smile for the camera. They started as kids on neighboring sets, tiny faces surrounded by cables, lights, and the smell of hot studios. Both earned paychecks before they could spell their names, performing long before they truly knew themselves. In a world demanding constant perfection, Clint was Ron's reminder that he wasn't alone. They weren't just brothers, they were co-workers, survivors, and witnesses to a childhood few could ever understand. But adulthood hit Clint hard. While Ron was directing blockbusters, Clint was sinking deep into addiction, cocaine, alcohol, chaos. By 1990, things hit breaking point. Ron, heartbroken and scared, gave him an ultimatum: get help or lose him forever. Clint chose rehab, and by 2021, the brothers shared their journey in their memoir, The Boys, crediting honesty and love for saving Clint's life. But now, decades later, Ron faces a fear he can't fix: Clint's serious, life-altering illness. He's kept the details private, but his voice tells the story. This isn't a simple sickness. It's the kind that changes everything, turning days into waiting rooms and nights into quiet dread for a man who spent his whole life rewriting happy endings. Ron now faces something he can't fix. He can't shout, "Cut," can't reset the scene, can't rewrite the ending. For the first time in years, he's powerless, watching the brother who once shielded him from the loneliness of fame fade before his eyes. And for the first time in his life, Ron admits he's afraid, not of critics, not of failure, but of losing the one person who's walked beside him through every chapter of his story. As Clint's condition worsened, Ron was forced to face a truth he'd buried beneath decades of calm professionalism and quiet strength. The man who'd guided Hollywood with grace for half a century the storyteller who gave hope to millions, was suddenly staring down his own fragility. In interviews, Ron confessed this moment has shaken him deeper than anything before. Not EDTV, not Solo, not even the brutal pressure of Apollo 13. None of it compares to the fear of losing Clint. He described sleepless nights, replaying childhood scenes in his mind, the tiny classroom at Desilu, their whispered jokes between takes, the way Clint's laughter made the cold studio lights feel warm. Those once sweet memories now ache with guilt. Guilt that while Ron's directing career soared, Clint fought his demons alone. Guilt that he missed the signs. Guilt that he couldn't protect his brother sooner. This crisis changed everything for Ron Howard. It forced him to stop, breathe, and finally listen to his own life. After decades of constant motion, he stepped back from long shoots, turned down projects that demanded endless travel, and handed more control of Imagine Entertainment, the company he co-founded in 1985, to his partners. For the first time, Ron chose peace over prestige. His days are no longer ruled by call sheets or studio deadlines. They unfold slowly, around family dinners, long walks, late-night talks, and quiet laughter. He's learning to stay still, to actually live the moments he once missed. And in one of the most emotional reflections of his career, Ron admitted that the silence between projects revealed something he had buried for years. He said he spent a lifetime telling stories that moved the world, but somewhere along the way, he forgot to tell his own. That realization hit harder than any failure, because the man who gave audiences happy endings realized he had neglected to write one for himself. Now, at 71, with a $200 million legacy and half a century of Hollywood history behind him, Ron finally understands what truly matters. Awards fade, fame cools, but love, the real, ordinary love shared around a kitchen table, is what lasts. For fans, the shock wasn't that Ron Howard faced pain, but that he carried it alone for so long. Now that he's opened up, the heartbreak is raw, real, and deeply human. Some wounds never fully heal, not even for one of Hollywood's most respected storytellers. If this part of Ron's journey touched you, make sure to hit like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe. We've got more untold Hollywood stories coming your way soon.